Let's have a look at what you thought of the first. Obviously, it's Fury Usyk is on the horizon now, and get your take on what you thought of the first fight.
I mean, the first fight was very close. Good fight, entertaining. Did it go the way I expected? No. But was I surprised the way it went? I wasn't. So, look, when it comes to that sort of level, it comes down to fine margins, the 1%. And,
who did you pick? Before the fight, who did you pick?
I thought Fury would do it.
Why?
Just a natural heavyweight. Usyk was coming up. And even though Usyk's big, I mean, once you get to a certain size doesn't matter, but he was coming into one of the biggest heavyweights out there, the 6'9" Tyson Fury. So I thought Tyson would impose himself and get the dub over him.
You say you thought Fury would win the fight.
Yeah.
What didn't he do that you thought he was going to do in the fight?
Impose himself a bit more. You know, you watched the fight against Wilder in the rematch when he imposed himself. I remember I was sparring Fury for that fight, and he said, "Yeah, I'm putting on Wilder this fight." And everyone was like, "What?" He's like, "I'm putting on Wilder." That was for the rematch.
Right.
Like, I'm just going to bring it to him. And he went out there and did exactly that. So I thought he was going to kind of have the same sort of game plan going against Usyk.
Was you surprised by the way that he actually started? Because we thought the same thing. You're going to use your size and, you know, utilise all those attributes that you've got. But he didn't really do that, did he? And he allowed Usyk to take that jab away from him early on. And that was a big problem because when Usyk gets into any form of rhythm, it's
hard to
difficult
get him out of it. Exactly, yeah. And it's hard to get him out of that rhythm. And Usyk's got this sort of thing where he pressurises fighters and he makes fighters work. And he makes fighters work at a rate that sometimes they're not comfortable with. But Fury's obviously, he's a fit heavyweight, and he's a heavyweight that's obviously been there with different styles before. But I think the pressure Usyk brought to him was a bit different, and it just made Tyson work at a certain pace where he probably thought, okay, then this is the pace we're going to have to work at.
One of the things that, I mean, everyone, we've discussed at great length what we think Fury needs to do in this next fight. But one of the things that everyone assumed that would happen in the first fight is because of his size, that he would be very strong and big and create a challenge for Oleksandr Usyk in that respect. But he went into this fight with Usyk, one of the lightest that had gone into a fight for some time. Do you expect him, when he comes back round for this fight, do you expect him to be bigger? Do you expect him to take advantage of the fact that naturally he's a bigger man?
I don't expect him to be that much bigger because, look, the fight was close. And I think if Tyson does come in a bit too heavy, then you might not be able to bounce around and keep up with Usyk as much. And yeah, size matters, but I think to a degree.
What do you think, Simon, about that, by the way? Do you think that, you know, what are the advantages for Tyson Fury? Do you think that coming in heavier would be an advantage for him?
Well, it's one of his attributes, isn't it? It's one of his natural attributes that he's a bigger man. And what people, I mean, when we saw Derek, I know it's going back away now with Oleksandr. When we saw Derek Chisora fight Oleksandr Usyk, he almost gave people the blueprints to some extent to make life difficult for Usyk. Anthony Joshua didn't read that script. And potentially Daniel Dubois did a little bit and created some challenges for him. But I would think that the biggest thing for me is not about what Tyson Fury, and I want to see what you think of this, David. It's not about what weight he comes in at. It's about what state he comes in mentally. Because we've never seen Tyson Fury lose a fight.
Yeah.
I don't think he drew the fight against Deontay Wilder. I think he won that fight too.
So
but we've never seen him have to come back from that kind of adversity. And that, to me, is the most telling thing about this fight. If Fury is in the right state of mind, I don't know what you think, Spence, with the right outlook, none of this I think all that's gone anywhere about a middleweight, gap tooth, all that nonsense. I think it's all business now, isn't it?
Yeah.
If he's in the zone, I think Fury wins this fight.
I think Fury's mindset is always of a positive one.
Yeah.
I think that he's that type of guy. Do you know what I mean? He'll go in there 100% believing that he can turn things around and he'll make slight adjustments because there's not big changes that need to be made here. I just think that he needs to start earlier, establish himself earlier, take control and not allow Usyk to get in any sort of rhythm. My big concern here is not that whether he believes he can do it or mentally whether he's in that state of mind, but whether physically he can do it now. And that's my concern. He's at that stage of his career, right? He's 36, Usyk 37. But if you don't live the life right through your career, your body breaks down. And that is a concern for me. Is Tyson Fury's body breaking down? You would know better than anyone else because you've been in many camps with him and done hundreds of rounds with him.
Yeah.
And that is the telling thing. Will his body hold up through the training camp? Because it's punishing, right?
It is punishing. And I feel like at that sort of level, though, you do so many camps, you start to understand your body, so you know what you can do, you know what you can't do.
Right.
I think at obviously Tyson's level, the man's definitely obviously got it in him. The fight against Usyk was only a few months ago, wasn't it? Like it was years ago. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be any sort of disadvantages going into this fight in terms of he's been in camp or he's been out of shape for too long. And his mindset, going back to what you said about his mindset, I think his mindset is always good. You know, I've been in the gym with him.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask you, because you've been in with him and
Yeah.
you've been in a lot of sparring sessions with him, you've been in a lot of camps with him. I mean, what is that experience like? What's he like when he's going towards, I mean, I think you were sparring with him before the Dillian Whyte fight, right?
Yeah, Dillian Whyte fight as well, yeah. So, you know what it is with Tyson? It's funny because Tyson's the person where he knows if he knows a fight is good, he brings them into camp because he actually wants to test himself like that. And
What, you patting yourself on the back there?
I mean, yeah, you could say that, to be fair. But I mean, look, when he knows fighters are good, he always brings them into camp. If someone gives him good work, you have to come back. He's not the sort of fighter that says, well, you give me good work. And I mean, the times I've sparred Tyson and I've given him work and he's got out the ring like, bloody hell, Dave.
What's his main strengths? What do you find as his main strengths? You've done hundreds of rounds with him.
His
Do you know what I mean?
timing.
Like,
His timing.
His timing.
He's very awkward. I was just saying to somebody, when you see Tyson from outside, you see the nod and you see him shoot certain shots. But when you're in there, everything he's doing it for a reason. And sometimes it's hard to pick up on that. And it's hard to gauge that. It's definitely hard to see certain shots because he throws that at a different time.
Right.
You know, everyone throws shots within a certain sort of time frame, and he obviously does it very awkwardly, and he's long. He's long. Sometimes you don't even think he's next to you, he's across the other side of the ring. Yeah. And you're still getting caught with a jab.
Sure.
So,
timing's key, right? Timing sets up everything.
It's key, and he knows when to dig into shots. He knows when to set shots up. You know, he's very smart.
Are they very focused and disciplined camps in your experience?
Yeah, Tyson's camp is real, man. He keeps his family with him.
Right.
And it's funny because obviously in my camp I keep my family with me as well, but he's got no yes man in his camp. They tell him how it is. Do you think this camp will be different from any other camps? Because he's never gone into a fight having lost a fight. He's come back from adversities and challenges and overcome all the demons in his mind. But this is a very different camp, I suspect, because it's one coming off the back of a defeat. I don't think so, because he never really got beaten up. I mean, he lost. I mean,
do you not think the referee helped him out a bit?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we can't shy away from that, definitely. I think in a lot of cases, the referee would have stopped the fight. But at the same time, you're going in there, we're in there with someone like Tyson Fury, he comes back, you watch his fight against Wilder, he came back. It wasn't the first time him going over, and he always comes back and manages to win. So I think, in that sense, the referee probably thought, look, he's been there before, he's obviously still got something in the tank. And the referee can see something we can't. You can see the guy's eyes when he's in there. So he must have looked at it and thought he's still. Did
you think the referee helps out?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think that David's right in what he said. Any other referee at any given time could have stopped that contest because he was in bad trouble. Yeah. The boxing gods were with him. It happens, and he got through it, and he shows incredible powers of recovery. You cannot deny that with Tyson.
He's like Lazarus, absolutely.
And you got to respect that. And I think actually this loss will
galvanise
feed him even more. That he will go in there and it will be much more intense. The training camps. I think he's locked himself away, hasn't he? Out in Malta or somewhere. And
do you boys think? I mean, let's not wanting to be doomsday merchant, but if he were to lose, do you think it will be the last time we see him in the ring?
No.
You don't?
That AJ fight is still going to happen.
That's a money fight.
Yeah, it's a money fight. And I think, obviously, a lot of people do talk about it, saying, listen, man, they're both done now or they've both lost and whatnot. But that will still sell out the stadium the same way. That will still bring the same eyes to the fight. Yeah. The company
where are you at with that fight, by the way?
What, Fury versus Joshua?
Fury. Say Fury does lose. If he does, let's hope he doesn't.
Well, I mean, listen, I understand the public demand.
Do you think the fight happens for one?
Well, it'll be the battle of the two losers right now at this moment in time. I don't mean losers per se, because they've both been genuine, bona fide world champions, but they're not coming into the fight in their best version of themselves, are they?
No, but I think it's fair to say that
it is what it is.
Tyson Fury is number 2 in the world right now as a heavyweight. There's no getting away from that. I think
hang on, how'd you work that out? You've got Usyk and you've got Daniel Dubois.
Yeah.
So Daniel
Tyson
Dubois
Fury is number 2.
Do you think that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I do.
Absolutely.
Okay. But if he loses this fight against Usyk, you'd still have him as number 2, would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're talking about the same guy. I mean, you're talking about a couple of rounds between winning and losing. It wasn't like one round beatdown. He lost the fight, yes, but it was we're going into this rematch going. if he can do this and if he can do that, rediscover this, he wins the fight.
But there is also
definitely number 2.
I mean, again, we have the same conversation about Daniel, can't you? Because Daniel nearly beat Usyk. And there was a challenge in the minds of the trainer and certainly a lot of people, certainly Frank, that that this wasn't a low blow. I don't think you thought it was a low blow.
I think the referee in that one, by the way, saved Oleksandr Usyk without a doubt, because that was not a low blow.
I think, honestly, it looked low, but I don't know if it was as low as people thought. I don't know if
I didn't think it was a low blow.
It wasn't that low.
Dave, you know where you wear the shorts, right? And we know where this shot landed.
100%.
It never hit him down.
No, that's what I'm saying.
In his stomach.
But I think if the referee started to give Usyk a count, I think Usyk would have got up and worked his way on the ring.
You think
That's
so?
what I genuinely think. I think he blagged it for as long as he could.
Yeah, to try and
the
recover
referee
as much as he could.
Exactly that. The referee basically gave it to him as a low blow. So he sat down and said, look, if I got a 5-minute break, I'll take it. Sure. But I think if he didn't give it a low blow and started to count, Usyk would have got up and still used the experience to get
If Usyk does beat Tyson, we're going to have to turn around. Are you boys going to turn around and say, because I probably am, that you're looking at one of the all-time greats?
Definitely.
In terms of Usyk, because ultimately he'll have beaten everyone, won't he?
Yeah, even now,
I
think he's up there right now. Usyk's one of them generational fighters. He can fight in any generation. You have to be honest about it. You put him in fights 20, 30, 40 years ago,
I'm going to give you one. If you put Oleksandr Usyk in with a prime Evander Holyfield, who followed the same journey as Oleksandr Usyk, who wins that fight?
Man, Holyfield's my guy. I got to go for Holyfield.
I know, mate. Well, that's where I'm at as well. Like, I think that
Holyfield's too spiteful.
You rank him up there somewhere, but I don't know if he's an all-time great. He's definitely a generational great for sure. But he'll fit in the top 5.
If you beat everybody in your generation,
you're generational great.
You have to be generationally great.
Absolutely.
I mean, Evander didn't beat Lennox Lewis.
Yeah, I know, but
so wait. Well, what is it you're saying that you're saying Usyk would beat?
I'm saying that if for that particular expression, and I think it's overused anyway, but it's part and parcel of what the media does.
Lennox is an all-time great.
Lennox is. I understand that. But what we're talking about in terms of Oleksandr Usyk, and Evander Holyfield was brought into the conversation, I'm saying, does he become a generational great in terms of one of the all-time greats because he's dominated his era? And it's a double whammy because Evander Holyfield was obviously a cruiserweight and then a heavyweight.
Does Lennox beat Oleksandr Usyk?
Yes. I think Lennox Lewis beats all of them.
Yeah,
I think Lennox Lewis on his day beats all of them, and when he was in his pomp, he could beat anybody at any fight they wanted to have. If he wanted to knock someone out, Lennox could do it. If he wanted to box him, he could do it. You watched him.
Yeah, I went around the world and watched him.
I went around the world and watched him. What do you expect to see from the two boys? I mean, obviously we saw the battle of the mutes at the press conference. Where there was not a lot said between Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk.
Yeah.
But we're coming now into the business area where fighters are zeroing down, the press interest is ramping up. What do you expect to see from the two boys? What do you expect to hear?
Well, we've in the past heard a lot from Tyson Fury, haven't we? I mean, he's been entertaining in fight weeks, fight build-ups, etc., etc. But I think it's down to business now. I don't think we're going to hear the Tyson Fury that we've heard in the past in press conferences before. So he knows what he's going into. Oleksandr Usyk is that guy that, I think his game is by not saying anything. Yeah. That's his game and getting inside his fighter's head. Tyson Fury now knows that he can't get inside Oleksandr Usyk's head. He can't break that because Usyk's great at reverse psychology. Yeah. That's where I'm at with it. So I just think that it's going to be a much more reserved build-up than what we've seen before. So I think the fight sells itself.
Yeah, I think it's difficult for Tyson to go all out, isn't it? Because ultimately he's on the back of a defeat. So he can't give it what he would normally give it. And probably he'll want to travel a little bit more incognito. What about the other reverse side of the question? If Oleksandr were to lose, do you think it'd be the last time you saw him in the ring?
You know what?
Shout,
Yeah, it's a good shout.
I think we'd probably see the trilogy.
You'd have to, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Because you've got the rubber match, haven't you? You've got one apiece. It's sort of, again, you're talking about,
But what about if he wins?
If he wins, he's sailing off into the sunset.
You think he sails off into the sunset?
110%. I feel like, obviously, Usyk's probably at a stage now where he's thinking, look, he's 37.
He's beatable.
Exactly that. He's beatable. He's got the money. He's got the accolades.
Have you sparred Usyk, by the way?
I haven't. You know what? It's very funny. The time I was meant to spar Usyk, I was in camp with Tyson.
No way.
So I never ended up sparring Usyk. So,
would you have liked to spar him?
Yeah, definitely. It's one of them. He's one of them fighters that you would want to get in there with just to see how you measure up with him and see exactly how he prepares for camps and what he's doing beforehand. But I know he's got the same sort of team Klitschko had.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
They're meticulous in what they do.
Yeah,
right?
very.
Before we get into David, let's talk about one other heavyweight. I think you've been sort of digging around about Martin Bakole. Obviously, it's a source of irritation for us because we want Martin Bakole to be given the opportunities that he should be given.
Yeah.
We think he's being pushed aside, don't we? And people are ducking him. Mustn't use the word ducking because it gets people upset. People are avoiding him or not making these fights.
Be careful,
but what's the state of play with Martin?
Yeah, so I spoke to Billy Nelson this morning actually to see where he was at with that because I know there's been rumours circulating that he's boxing a Jagba in March, I believe. I think the Riyadh season then with Ramadan, going on, Riyadh season goes on the road. I believe that fight lands here, or Billy thinks that the fight will land here against the
Jagba. UK?
Yeah, in the UK. That will be a final eliminator for the IBF. We've got Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker going ahead, and I think that the IBF will then mandate the winner to fight Martin Bakole in April. So that's where we're at with it. So that's the that's the roadmap he's taking.
Good fighter, Bakole. Yeah. Very good fighter. Done
Have you
many
sparred
rounds.
him?
Yeah, many rounds with Bakole. He's a good fighter. And I feel like a lot of fighters do avoid him.
Do you?
100% of fighters avoid him because he should be involved in big fights. And I don't really remember Bakole ever saying no to a fight. I remember his name being involved in a mix and they're saying they want Bakole to fight this person, this person, this person. And he's obviously always backed himself. And I know Billy Nelson very well as well. Top man, Billy Nelson.
If he comes through against a Jagba in March, which I expect him to be fair, Jagba's a good fighter, but I expect him to beat him. If he comes through there and he gets the winner of Dubois Parker, do you fancy him to beat the winner of that? Is he that good?
You know what's so funny? Him against Dubois, I don't think it's a good matchup for Dubois. Really? Him against Parker is a very good fight. I see them spar.
Daniel?
No, I've seen Bakole and Parker
Bakole, yeah.
spar.
Oh, you've seen them spar?
I've seen them spar.
Okay.
So, good. The fans are being for a treat.
Yeah.
I've been in camp with both of them.
Right.
It's so funny because we was all in camp together. Me, Parker, Bakole, Jerome Miller, and Tyson Fury.
Wow.
So you can only imagine what it was like when we were sparring.
That's some mad sparring, right?
Physio
what was that, like a
working.
round robin type thing, like in and out?
No, we was all doing different rounds. I was you two today, you two today, you two today.
Right.
So look, put it this way, the physio was working for the whole of camp because everybody was landing big shots and pushing themselves to the limits. But yeah, Parker and Bakole do spar. The fans are in for a treat. Not spar, sorry, fight.
If they fight, yeah.